I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself walking through a city in the year 1500. You're standing in the middle of a lake. The streets are canals. The homes sit on islands linked together by stone bridges. The marketplace is larger than any market in Europe at the time. And at the heart of it all stands a pyramid so massive that it throws a shadow across the entire neighborhood. This city was known as Tenochtitlan. It was located in the middle of Lake Texcoco, in what is now Mexico City. And during the period we're discussing, it was one of the most remarkable cities on the planet. The Aztecs created this city from the ground up. Just a few centuries before the Spanish arrived, they were a nomadic tribe that no one really wanted near them. According to their legends, their god instructed them to build their city wherever they saw an eagle perched on a cactus and eating a snake. They discovered that eagle in the center of a swampy lake, so they built there, on the water. They sank wooden poles into the lake bed. They made floating islands called chinampas, essentially enormous garden rafts to produce food. They constructed causeways to connect the island city to the mainland. And they kept building and building until, 200 years later, Tenochtitlan may have had around 300,000 residents. 300,000. That was larger than London, larger than Paris, larger than Rome at the time. The man in charge of everything was Montezuma II. He was more than simply a ruler. For the Aztecs, he served as the god's earthly representative. As he moved through the palace, servants swept the floor ahead of him so his feet would never touch unclean ground. When he ate, screens were set up around him so that no common person could see him dining. He commanded an army that had taken control of almost all of central Mexico. He also oversaw a tribute system, essentially a tax network, that brought goods and payments from hundreds of cities into Tenochtitlan. By the standards of the world in 1500, he was one of the most powerful men in existence. This is where the real problem starts, and I want you to pay close attention here, because this is truly why everything fell apart. The Aztec Empire was powerful because it inspired fear, not affection. Fear. Every city they subdued had to supply soldiers for Aztec military campaigns. Every city also had to deliver goods such as corn, cotton, gold, and feathers to Tenochtitlan as tribute. Then, every year, the Aztecs performed religious rituals in which people were sacrificed. Some of those sacrificed individuals came from the cities they had conquered. Consider how that would have seemed to the neighboring tribes. Their young men were taken for war, their goods were taken as taxes, and in some years, their neighbors were taken to Aztec temples. The Aztecs were extremely powerful, but they did not have many genuine allies. There was a group called the Tlaxcalans, who lived only a few days' journey from Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs had fought them for many years not to defeat them permanently, but to keep a constant supply of prisoners for their rituals. The Tlaxcalans despised the Aztecs, truly, deeply despised them, and they were not alone. Across the Aztec Empire, many people resented the taxes, resented the fighting, and resented the tribute. They complied because they had no other option, but they were waiting. The Aztec Empire was like a large house that everyone inside wanted to escape. The doors were locked firmly, but if anyone ever showed up with a key, those people would open the door themselves, and that person was about to arrive. In 1519, a Spanish soldier named Hernán Cortés arrived on